thing I said when I first met her. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about that because I want our young people to see, and we want to make sure when we bring people up to 88.5, they're going to have to be able to touch. I don't want to say touch students, but inspire students by them just telling their story. I'm not going to ask her nothing crazy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just about to ask her about her. So turn that mic to you a little bit so we can see you. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, I introduce Keisha, the electrician, Keisha L. Blair. Welcome to 88.5.
Thank you. Nice to be here, John. Thank you.
All right. So, electrician.
Yes.
Y'all see it on the shirt if y'all looking on Facebook. It says Keisha, the electrician. Now, you got to tell us, like, I mean, just the, how did electricity even get into your world? Because 30 years, that means something like you really got in it and got busy.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll get into the story.
Well, as you know, I'm an electrician by trade. I am 50 years old, proudly 50 years old.
Go ahead
Have
with
no
the
problem
proud.
with
That's
that.
right.
I have 4 beautiful children,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I've been an electrician for 30 years. So I got into the field of electricity. I'm going to say really far beyond my schooling. Started out doing things like helping my brother and my uncle build go-karts, taking stuff apart, putting it back together. So I always kind of knew
You
I
was
had it
there.
in
You
me.
was while they was doing that,
Oh
or
yeah,
you was taking
I
it
was
apart.
doing it with them.
Ah,
Absolutely.
okay.
You know, other things too, like playing football in the street, climbing trees, flipping fences, different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Flipping fences, yes,
yeah,
ma'am. Uh-huh.
in my younger days. Um, but I believe that my love for electricity, like I said, it was just something that was in me. Like even now, I like to watch electrical storms outside.
Huh?
I do. I can sit outside and watch a storm with electricity all day long. I love it.
So when you watching the storm and you see the bolts in the sky, like what was told to you about that back in the day that make you like now when you see it you have a deeper appreciation for it.
Well, the one thing that you have to understand, everything is not for everybody. And
Uh-huh.
whatever field you're in, you have to have respect for it.
Okay.
So I just have respect for electricity. Now, I'm not trying to get close to a lightning bolt, but I do like to watch to see how many times it hits the ground, where it hits the ground, and different things like that. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's just a passion of mine.
So when you got into it, you saw your brothers and you saw your uncles and stuff messing with it. Now, the thing that made me run from electricity when I was a young DJ starting off, I was 14. And my power cord for my mixer, it was cut a little bit so it exposed a little bit of coil or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I go and let me just plug it in, and my hand was on the cut wire. When I tell you I felt something so strong go from my hand up to my arm, and I was able to let it go, but I was like, I don't ever want, yo, I respected electricity from that day forward. It's like even when I plug stuff in now, I have a flashback. But when you said respect for electricity, I kind of understand you because it seemed like electricity is all around us,
Absolutely.
but in the wrong environment, it literally can kill you.
Well, if you don't understand it, anything can kill you. So
Mm.
it's more so about just understanding it and knowing how to use it. So, like I said, I had to go through a 5-year apprenticeship program. I went through IBW, which stands for International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, right here in Memphis, Local 474.
Here in
In
Memphis.
Memphis, I finished my apprenticeship program.
Shout out
Yes.
to those folks over there. Uh-huh.
And then after that, I got my journeyman's license in Shelby County in, I believe, 2000. So I've been licensed since 2000.
And so when you say journeyman, what does that mean?
Journeyman wireman electrician is you have to have 8,000 hours of on-the-job training before you can even become a journeyman electrician.
8,000
Yeah,
hours. That means you got to be working.
that's
Not
minimum.
watching your uncle and brother like
Correct.
hands on, fixing and all that.
Yes, yes.
Oh my God, how long did that take?
Well, you can get 8,000 hours in 4 years, but the apprenticeship program was 5 years at the time.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So then after that, like, okay, because if we're not, and ladies and gentlemen that's watching and listening, if you're not in that field, you don't know nothing about it, but I'm sure it's some people that's paying for electricians. So like, how do you
Absolutely.
like after you got your license? What was next? What did you do?
Well, I was actively working for IBW at the time, and I worked on a lot of projects in the city of Memphis. And then I was able to travel around the country if I decided to go and work at other local unions in different cities. There's a process for that as well.
Hmm.
But in, let me see, 2010, I decided to apply for a maintenance position, and that's what started my career in maintenance. So
Mm.
I worked in maintenance for, well, from 2010 up till earlier part of this year to where I decided to go work for myself.
Wow. So being in this field, and ladies and gentlemen, you know, Brother John got to keep it real. We know it's male dominant,
Hmm.
right? But it seemed like you came in there and just broke the mold. Like, look, y'all not going to deny me. Look, I can do exactly what y'all do. Can you talk about that experience? Because we may have some young female students that's like, well, I don't know if I want to do it, or you know, how? Because I'm sure you had to deal with a lot. You don't even have to say it, but I'm sure you dealt with a lot. But how did you handle that? Because being a woman and a black woman in a
Hmm.
field that's predominantly white, and you come in there. I mean, how was it? Like, it seemed like you had to have some grit or some home training to stick through all of that.
Absolutely. So I'm going to say this. You've heard this saying before: anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Okay, okay.
But there were a lot of hard days, especially in the beginning, but I just stuck with it. So at the time, my oldest son, who is 29 now, he was 9 months when I started in the program,
Okay.
in the apprenticeship program. And I think just life changing and kicking in is what helped me to sustain and to finish my program because there were a lot of times that I thought about quitting because it wasn't easy working in the different elements, working outside in the rain and the heat, working up
Wait.
high.
Electricity with rain, that don't mix, does it?
No, it does not. But as far as installing, there are certain times where it may, of course, if it pours down, then we're not going to work outside. But there were times where we had to work in a building and it was raining outside. It was cold, heat. So just the different elements. You just have to know that those things can be challenging.
Mm.
But if you just think about keep the end in mind, that's what helped me keep going. Because I started out actually in 95, August
Mm.
of 95, making $6.50 an hour.
August of
Of
'95,
95.
$6.95 an hour,
Yes. No, 650. $6.50 an
six
hour.
dollars and fifty cent
Yes,
an
that's
hour.
what a first year apprentice made at the time. It's a lot higher now, I'm sure. I don't know what it
Uh,
is, but it's a lot higher than six dollars and
but
fifty
is
cents.
that what they call you? You put the time in, you put that work in.
Yes,
So
yes.
you climbed up the mountain instead of being dropped off at the top of the mountain. You put that work in.
Absolutely. And then once
Wow.
I got to the top, I used it as a stepping stone instead of a plateau. And then I even went back to school to get two additional degrees, one in computer networking systems and another one in information systems.
So you like a walking IT electrician, all this good stuff wrapped in one.
Yeah, well, one thing I learned when working in the electrical world, working on construction sites, is that there's a lot of big tools that you have to work with. So I knew that if I went back to school for something else, I could make myself marketable to where I didn't have to work with the 4-inch rigid and work with large tools and different things. I'm not going to say what all those tools are. People may not know,
Right.
but I wanted to
Big
do
tools.
big tools.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, power tools, which are
Now, when you
nice.
said when you said construction sites, had you worked on any projects here in Memphis that
Oh
we may know
yeah,
about?
absolutely.
Let's
So
go ahead and stun on the people.
So the first project I ever worked on as a first year apprentice was on Airways, the Kellogg building with the green stripe around it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the very first project I worked on. And let me see, I worked down in, it's probably not even there anymore, but the Grand Casino.
Okay.
I don't think it's there anymore, but I worked on FedEx Forum, Pyramid, a whole bunch of Memphis City
The pyramid
schools.
before Bass Pro.
Before Bass Pro, I
Oh, so you
believe,
were the OG
yes.
with the
Well,
pyramid.
not the original pyramid
Okay.
when they did the upgrade. I believe when how was it, the Grizzlies
The
that they came?
Grizzlies was
Yeah,
coming up.
so they
Uh-huh.
played there for a little bit. We worked on the upgrade there. I worked for the company that
Wow.
did that. Stax Museum when they did the upgrade for that one. Just a lot of different Memphis City schools.
And so you worked in the school, so you helped keep some electricity on for our babies.
Yes, well, I worked for a contracting company that work was contracted out, and they had a job that did a lot of upgrade for the lighting,
Hmm.
computers, and different things like that in Memphis City schools.
So looking back over the 30 years, can you talk about Was it anybody that helped you along the way at pivotal points? Because, I want our young people to understand. I know we can get it, we get it out the mud and all that, but it's always been somebody along the lines that have, or along the journey, that may have been pivotal to maybe going to the next level or causing you to, go back to school or do different things. Have you had people along the way that helped you along the
Oh
path?
my goodness, there are so many. The first person that comes to mind is my older brother. He is an electrician in
Okay.
Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
And he was the person that actually told me about IBW. And so he has been an electrician 1 year longer than me because I think he was a first year apprentice, and then I got in the
Do
year
he
after
do
him.
he
Him.
hold that over your head? He ever try to be like, yo, I've been doing this longer than you. You only been doing it a couple of months.
Now he just give
Uh,
me that look if I try to explain something to him. He just be looking at me like, "You come on now."
okay, okay. All right, so now you said your brother. So who else may have been along the way?
Oh my goodness. Let
Like
me
some people
think.
that might have stood out more than others, like pivotal during the time.
I'm going to have to say, and like I'm going to name some names. I don't even know if this program is, if the company is still there, but it was the owner at the time. The company was Allied Electrical,
Uh huh.
and Mike Estridge and Tommy Ray. They were the owners, and
Hmm.
Willie Frazier.
Okay.
When I was pregnant with my fourth child, which is Bishop Osai,
Okay.
they, instead of, usually in the apprenticeship, they consider it a leave of absence or a disability when you get pregnant. So
What?
yeah, so they take you off work and you have to take disability
Oh
for
my
being pregnant. So
goodness.
what they allowed me to do was to work in the shop as opposed to taking a layoff. So I really appreciate them for that. I learned a lot,
Uh,
learned how to estimate, learned how to take off prints and just different things that I was not getting training on in the field. They helped me to get it by bringing me inside of the office. So definitely, definitely, that was definitely. I'm not sure if that's the name of the company now, but at the time, that's what the name was, that company.
so now that you've been in the game 30 years, like, do you ever plan to give back or try to help other young girls or young people become an electrician? Because we know AI, they trying to say AI is here to take jobs, but I don't think AI is messing with electricity, but AI needs electricity to go. So
Yeah.
do you ever think about giving back or doing anything to recruit young girls?
Absolutely. So my mission right now is to inform 1 million children about what I like to call AI resistant jobs. And I'm starting with the skilled trades because that's near and dear to me. There are far
Hmm.
others, but yeah, AI resistant jobs because AI can probably design a building. You can even design the layout for the electrical work, but it can't physically get in there and install it.
Right.
And then so like just something simple, you may be able to hook your stuff up to like your lights up to a smartphone or to a smart system, but if it goes out, AI is not going to come change that light bulb out for you. You still have to go and change it out physically. So just something simple like that.
Mm.
And then when you think about carpentry or iron workers, plumbers, just a lot of different skilled trades out there
You still
that
going to need
people
them.
still going to need us. You're still going to need people who are in those AI resistant category jobs.
Wow. So I mean, to all the young people or families that's watching, you know what I'm saying? You got somebody that's living the moment right now in this world of electricity, and I mean, just the respect I have for. See, I keep going back to. I remember when I got shocked, and I'm like, "Yo, this." She's in the field, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm sure she's knocking down all kind of barriers and made it through a lot. And she said, "What doesn't kill you make you stronger." What would you say to our young people out here now? That's they looking thinking that if I don't want to be a singer, I don't want to be a basketball player. It's like or football player. It's other things out there for them to do. But now that you've been in it all this time and you've been successful, what's your story to them? I'm not trying to say you're trying to recruit them, but what would be your message to young people? Because it seemed like you've been through a lot.
I have. And I've actually had different careers that I've done throughout my years. But one thing that has always stayed with me is my skill. Because once you learn a type of skill trade, no one can ever take it from you.
That's right.
And you will always have it with you. So I've done other things, like I've worked in leadership, I've worked in hotels.
Hmm.
So I've done so many other things. But I've always come back to the electrical world.
Wow.
And, you know, having to do, oh my goodness, let's see, working with men sometimes can be a challenge for a woman, especially when you are the leader of the team of men.
Ooh, not the
I've,
leader of the team
I've
of
had
men.
opportunities. So I'm not trying to flex on myself.
No, it's okay. You can
But
flex. It's
oh, I
okay
can
to
flex.
flex.
I can flex. Okay, so I'm not going to say any names of any other companies, but I was the first female senior manager of a maintenance department for a Fortune 50 company.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I
say that
had
again. Well, I want people
uh,
for the people in the back. Say it. You was the
first
first.
female senior manager for a Fortune 50 company.
Wow, not Fortune 500.
Not Fortune
You said
100,
Fortune
550.
50.
Correct, correct.
Wow.
So I had roughly about 270 employees under me.
What?
But I started out as an electrician and then worked my way up.
Wow.
And I got promoted, I believe, 6 times in 10 years.
And folks had to come down and what you say goes, and you had a team up under you.
I did, but I wasn't that type of manager. I was more diplomatic
Uh-huh.
in my approach, and I always wanted to make sure that my team knew that I never forgot where I came from as an hourly.
Mm-hmm.
I always kept that in the back of mind because people come to work for whatever reasons, but that's not going to want them to go above and beyond once they get to work.
Mm-hmm.
So what I tried to do was just make sure that I put things in place to where they actually liked coming to work because happy people come to work.
Happy people come to work.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a gem for some of y'all out there. Happy people comes to work. I like that. So now you see now our young people. It seems like you got to have something that attracts them. Right now, it's like yes, they like YouTube and want to be a influencer and all that, but everybody can't be an influencer.
Mhm.
And if social media and all these distractions was out back then, do you think you would still want to be an electrician with all these things like social media back as powerful as it is now? That's what students have to compete with when you say, "Hey, be an electrician." Like, well, I want to be a influencer on YouTube with a camera. Well, electricity powers the camera and the computer.
I'm just saying.
But were you distracted was it in your mind once you started down this path when you first started, was it like I'm not going to stop until I get this license or this apprenticeship because the distractions now, it seemed like if you're trying to do anything now, you got so many distractions. Was it like that for you when you started?
Um, I'm not going to say I had a lot of distractions. It was more so of, like I say, the one thing that made me finish was I thought about my children. When I was a fourth year apprentice, I had my third child.
Hmm.
And, I did have moments. So I'm going to back up. I'm going to go back to when I was a second year apprentice and I was pregnant with my daughter. Like I said, when you get pregnant, you go on disability. So
For the whole time.
yeah, you can't work out there being pregnant. So,
Wow.
so at
Yes,
the time,
yeah.
this was before I started working for Allied, right?
Uh-huh.
So I had to take a layoff. Didn't have any money coming in. I car got repoed, evicted from my apartment, and I believe the final couple of days that I was in my apartment here in Memphis, it was me and my oldest son. He was 1.5 at the time, so I'm 1.5 and I'm pregnant, and all I had in my house to feed my son was Vienna sausages and crackers.
Wow.
And it was by candlelight. And
Mm.
at that moment, you know, I thought about I don't ever want to put myself in a position to where I can never take care of my children or to where they see me at a point to where I cannot take care of them.
Mm.
So um, I went and got on welfare at the time,
Hmm.
and they gave me, oh my goodness, at the time this was in 96,
Okay.
November of 96, to put things in context. And I believe, I want to say the check was maybe around $150
Man.
to exactly for an entire month. And I think I got food stamps. They were around, I think, $600 or $700. So I
Uh-huh.
thought, this is interesting. The government thinks that it costs more to eat than it does to actually live. And I
Mm.
knew that wasn't a world that I wanted to be a part of. So at the time, I took the $150
Hmm.
and I bought a plane ticket to California, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay.
Stayed with my grandmother, gave birth to my daughter, and I saved up my money and bought a car for $1,000.
Hmm.
And I brought that car My mother, she's no longer with us. She passed away a few years ago. But my mother came back with me and my two children, and we drove back from California to Memphis because it was very, very important that I finish my apprenticeship program.
Wow.
So now, when I think about that moment to where by candlelight, Vienna sausages and crackers, being pregnant with a 1.5-year-old, I don't ever want to go back to that because to me that was my rock bottom, and that's ultimately my why. Why I work like I do, why I get up like I do, and
Right.
why I have a passion to want to tell young people about the things that they can do to never hit a point like that. So when I work, I only have two modes: hustle and hustle harder. That's it.
Wow. Period. That's
Period.
just,
I'm either gonna hustle or I'm gonna hustle harder. Only two modes I got.
and you've been rolling ever
I've
since.
been rolling ever since. I told you I was on a flight this morning. I woke up. I was in Lansing. Woke up at 4 a.m. Got on a flight to Detroit, and then got here. I think like 10. Took a nap. Got back up, and here I am in the studio with you. So
Rolling. That's what I'm
rolling.
talking about. For our young people, you see that, ladies and gentlemen? Folks is doing all in this summertime. I know folks is not in school, but that's why we're gonna we got it on social media and we're gonna put it up on YouTube so that y'all can share the message like this because this is what I see the direction of our new superintendent wanting to make sure our children are exposed to as many things as possible because the days of playing sports and singing, I'm not saying folks don't want to attain that, but there's so much more that our students can do. But if we don't have people like you that can, you're a living example. I can do that. I can make it through adversity and still come back and finish my apprenticeship. And now I'm making good money off of a trade that
That's
can't
right.
nobody take that from me.
That's right.
That feel like that's like a freedom. Like, no, I can go anywhere in the world and find me a job if I want to.
Exactly. And like I mentioned, I didn't use it as a plateau, but as a stepping stone. So I started as an electrician. Then I went and got my certification in instrumentation, which is another.
What is instrumentation? What is
Instrumentation
that?
is basically what I do is make sure that certain type of devices for processing systems, let's just say at the brewery,
Hmm.
um, and they have to calibrate those systems. So it just teaches you about different things for the processing world to
Wow.
processing different types of materials and equipment.
So, to be an electrician, would you say you got to be skilled in math, in English, or what would you say for?
I would have to say you have to have some type of understanding of math, a love for math and science, because there's a lot of math that's involved in it. Geometry, and I don't even really like geometry, but I had to understand geometry more
Wow.
um, through, there's a lot of, when you think about the pipe that we have to bend, so you have to know those angles and different things. So it's basically a lot that has to do with geometry, trigonometry. And one of the things that I did to increase my understanding of geometry was I learned how to play pool.
Really?
Yeah, because there's a lot of angles in pool when you think about,
Yes.
yeah, getting the ball. Yeah, so that helped me to understand more about geometry.
Wow.
Even
See,
though they say when you hit the ball, you put English on it, it's not
right?
English, it's
You ain't putting no
geometry.
English on it. You just hitting the ball on a certain side of the ball.
Exactly, yeah.
So let me ask you, and I hope this is not a crazy question,
It
but
probably is, but go ahead, John.
where does electricity come from?
Where does it come from? I
Where
told you
like
not to ask me no hard question. No, it comes from the universe because people talk about energy, right?
energy? Right.
Correct. So
Right.
it's basically just energy. It comes from the earth.
It comes from the earth.
Hmm.
Man, it's but I respect
There's
it
there's a
though.
lot more that goes into it, absolutely, because there's a lot more. Think about lightning, which goes beyond the earth. So there's a lot more that goes into it.
And I saw a random post yesterday. They found a shoe that was 200,000 years old. It was an old shoe, and they found it frozen in some mountain. And they said at the bottom of the shoe it had some type of something conductor for something about when they walk on the earth. So, and I was
That's
like,
ground. Yeah.
that.
So like it just depends on what type of material it is. Don't
Uh
get
huh.
me over here. I'm trying to teach no class
I
now,
mean, I
John.
mean, I mean, you helping me. So, why is grounding important?
Grounding is important because if not, you probably would have gotten electrocuted had it not been for you being grounded or whatever. You may have been touching something else. That the electricity takes the fastest path to ground, which is why lightning bolts they come down and they don't go up or they don't go to the side. They go down to the ground.
Hold up, they don't go up?
They don't go up, they come down. They don't go to the left or go to the right. They come from
They
up
all come down.
and
That's
they
right.
come down. They have to be grounded as fastest path to ground. That's what electricity looks for.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, sure. Look, she gonna have Brother John on in some encyclopedias. I'm gonna go get one of them old Britannica encyclopedias. You know how we had back in the day. What was it? Was it Britannica? Okay, what was them old Britannica? Yeah, I'm gonna go look for E, pull out E and look up electricity and get some understanding on that. But I see somebody trying to check in on the text. What they saying? We got somebody on the text, ladies and gentlemen. You want to text in and say something? It's 901-881-0885. She said, "Good evening, Brother John. This is Miss Middleton. I'm proud of this young lady. My husband has been a pipe fitter
Right now.
for 48 years. He's over the car plant. Keep up the good work." Now, watch out now. You have a pipe fitter. What's a pipe fitter? I never heard of that.
Yes, you have.
What's a pipe fitter?
Plumber.
Oh, Miss Middleton, you trying to use big words on me, Miss
Well, there's other avenues, just like you
I
can go
got
on to
you.
other
I got
avenues
you.
for electricity. The Pipe Fitters Union, that's one of the things that you could possibly do. I
Wow.
believe it's, I'm not a pipe fitter, but I believe like HVAC, plumbing, you can do go down different avenues from the pipe fitting world.
But you respect those other folks
Absolutely.
that's doing other things like you. You may not be in the same field, but you still got a craft and a skill that we need in this world. So I'm like, I'll be cool with everybody that got a trade, because I'm like, hey, I might need you to fix my, like keep in contact with folks.
Well, most people don't think about it, but the buildings that you work in would have never been crafted without craftsmanship from skilled workers.
I'm looking around this building
Yeah,
right now. Somebody
correct.
had to
Do a lot in this place.
right.
Yeah.
That's man. I salute you, Miss Blair. Thank you. Any closing words? Anything else you want to say? You got the floor to say whatever you would like. If you got a social media, let everybody know about you. Anything.
First of all, I want to say this, that I've been making six figures for a long time.
Woo!
So, children, if you're thinking about you want to go into any of these other careers because of money, a skilled trade is definitely something that you can make really good money in. And you have the opportunity to be your own boss.
Well, I know she just stunted on everybody in the city right there. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody said Keisha the electrician is amazing. I wish I knew women could be electricians when I was younger. Now I'm telling young girls the possibilities are endless based on this woman. You see what I'm saying? That right there, that, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
that was the reason when I said I need you to come on so that you might can inspire our young ladies. And this woman just said, now I'm telling young girls the possibilities are endless based on this woman. See that?
I appreciate that.
See?
I appreciate that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's why it is important that we bring folks and good examples. So once these people, they say, if you can see it, you can be it, right? I know that sounds cliche-ish and all that, but you just told these folks, I started off at $6.50 an hour.
Yes.
Now I'm making six figures
Yes.
a year, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. $6.50 she started out, now six figures. Y'all do the math. But Miss Blair, thank you. If there's anything we can do, I mean, even if it's just like to show some tools or something one day, the stuff that you do, because, now I'm looking at all these gadgets and all this electricity we using around here and leaving all the lights on. You got me wanting to cut the lights off when we leave. But no, it's been an honor, and I thank you so much for allowing yourself to come in here after being on the road doing what you do, to come in here and give back to our students and families. It's amazing. Thank you so much, okay?
Can I give you my social media?
Yeah, get the social media, yes.
So you can find me on Instagram at Keisha_the_electrician. My website, where I am proudly helping people to balance their life, because there's so much that goes into being a mother and being an electrician and being a student. So I'm going to say that I perfected that. So I help people to become the CEO of their lives by helping them to balance their lives. And my website for that is Keisha, Keishal Blair, Blair. The L is very important. But KeishaLBlair.com.
The L is very important.
That's
Put
right.
some respect on that L.
And then, so if you go to my Instagram page and look at you'll see all the links for all of my other for all of my other social medias. Because I'm also on LinkedIn and on Facebook as Keisha L. Blair.
There you have it, well, ladies and gentlemen. Now here go the funny thing. Here it is. So as I'm talking to her about finding out information about being an electrician and all that, she says something about her son does music. So and she wasn't saying it because she was here at a radio station. She was just talking about, you know how mothers talk about their children. And so when he said he does music, I said, is he from here? And she told me his name. I said, I wasn't familiar. I said, let me hear something. She put a song on her phone, and I said, hold up, I want to hear it on our big system so I can really feel it. Put the song on. I was like, yo, this is dope. I said, but does he have a clean version? Because, we know we play clean music here. So next thing you know, long story short, she got on the phone with him. A couple days later, a day or two later, he had the song, and I'm about to play it now. So you get to hear from the mom. You just heard from mom. And now I want you to cue up this song. We're going to do on a roll. So tell the people about On a Roll and tell them about your son.
My son, Bishop Osai, who is my third born child. He is so gifted, and he is an artist. I don't even want to call him a rapper because he is an artist. He writes and produces his own music. So I'm very, very proud of him. And I am now his manager. So if you like this song and you want him to come out, you can hit me up on one of my social media pages as well, or on his social media page. But yeah, On a Roll is one of my favorite songs. So I'm very proud to introduce him, Bishop Osai, y'all.
All right, here we go, y'all. On a Roll, 88.5 FM.